Hello and welcome back to EVE Online with me, Mark from DadX, and I'm in my Heron on the way out of low sec. I've crammed it full of loot to take to market, 40 mils worth right now. I've used exploration frigates a lot in the videos. I thought I'd take the time just to make a quick overview guide to all 4 of the racial frigates, and maybe at the end, if we've got time, a special friend. So here we are, and here are the 4 Tech 1 exploration frigates for the Caldari. We've got the Heron. For the Minmatar, with the Probe, Fleamar, we have the Magnate, and the Galante have the Imicus. Now the first thing to note is that they all have exactly the same bonuses. They have the roll bonus of +5 to your relic and data analyzer strength, and per level of Caldari frigate you'll get plus 7.5% to your core and combat scanner probe strength, and 5% reduction in salvager duration. So that's the same across the board, no differences there whatsoever. If we actually look at the attributes of each frigate, there is a little bit of a variance here. We'll compare them side by side. The Heron is the flimsiest in terms of overall hit points. Obviously it's shield tanked, being Caldari. The Imicus is the tankiest. It has 875 hit points on the Imicus, 800 on the Heron, and they kind of step up in between. I think it's 825 for the Probe and 850 for the Magnate. So there's a little bit of variance in hit point, but not a lot in it at all. They all have the same basic cargo hold capacity of 400 cubic meters. The drone capacity does vary. We've got 35 cubic meters on the Heron and the Probe, and 40 on the Magnate and the Imicus. So if we're looking at light combat drones, you can get 8 in your Magnate and your Imicus, 7 in your Heron and your Probe. However, do note that the Heron, Probe and Magnate can only fly 3 at a time due to their bandwidth, whereas the Imicus can fly 4 drones. Whether you want to have combat drones or ECM drones will depend on your skills and your needs. The mass isn't really of any great relevance, but they're all pretty much around the same point. Volume, again, the Heron is the smallest when it's built. They're all the same when they're packaged. So if you needed to squeeze it into an Orca's hangar or a Dreadnought's hangar just to have a little exploration frigate handy to do a bit of combat scanning, the Heron would take up the least space. Inertia modifier makes the Heron the most agile, followed by the Probe, the Magnate, and then the little old Imicus is the least agile, but again there's not a huge amount in it. Capacitor capacity, well, the Magnate has the biggest capacitor. I've never found there to be a great issue with capacitor on an exploration frigate. I guess if you're trying to run salvagers and you're having a hard time actually cracking the wrecks that you're trying to salvage, that could be an issue, but I've never really found it one. Targeting range, the Heron can target out to 37.5 kilometers. Remember, we're also talking about base figures here. They will be modified by your skills, obviously. And the Probe has the shortest range at 32.5 kilometers. Again, there's not a huge amount in it, 5 kilometers. They can all lock 4 targets at once, and their signature radius are almost identical, ranging from 38 to 41. So, the Imicus, again, the chunky one, is a little bit easier to hit, but not by much. Scan resolution is how quick you can lock a target. The Heron is the slowest with 430. The Probe the quickest with 465. The other guys in between, Magnate 445, Imicus 450. There's a small variance in the ship's sensor strength, but to be quite honest with you, I can't imagine that a hack box is going to try to jam you. When we get down to maximum velocity, this is actually the speed on grid. Again, these are base numbers that will be modified by your skills. The old Imicus, again, is the slowest, followed by the Heron, and then the Magnate, and then the Probe is going to be slightly faster when you're on grid. They all have exactly the same warp speed, again, the base value. So there's nothing to call between them there. So the differences are where, really? And that actually comes on this tab, which is the fitting tab. So we'll have a quick look at those. The differences are how you can fit the ship. Now, as you'll see, the Heron has 3 high slots. In fact, they all have 3 high slots. The Heron could fit either 2 turrets or 2 missile launchers. The Probe could fit 2 turrets or 2 missile launchers. The Magnate likewise. The Imicus is limited to 1 turret, should you want to have a gun of some sort on board. So that is something maybe to note. That's why you'll usually find ships like Herons, the ones that are going out to fight, rather than something like an Imicus. However, of course, if you want to surprise somebody with your drones, the Imicus can carry 1 more, which is 33% more DPS if you think about it. It's the medium power slots and the low slots that really cause the variances between these ships. So we've got the Heron, it has 5 medium slots and 2 low slots. We'll look at some fitting screens to really see what that means. The Probe and the Imicus come in the same at 4 medium power slots and 3 low power slots. The Magnate only has 3 medium power slots but has 4 low power slots. So what does that actually mean in practical terms? Price wise, these all come in at between 600 and 700,000 just for the basic hull. So if you've seen my videos, you'll be very familiar with my Heron fit. It's called here My First Last Heron. As an alpha, this is pretty much fit you can fly on day one, and it is also the only fit you can fly because the skills won't allow you to upgrade anything. Anyway, with the 5 mid slots, it means we can have a prop mod, a micro warp drive in this case, to compensate certainly for the alpha skill cap, or when you are low skilled, I've got the scan range finding array. Then I've got the 2 analyzers, and the 5th one is the cargo scanner. Now, as you'll know, if you see me hacking, I scan every box before I hack it. That is why I love the Heron and the 5 slots, especially if you're low skill or an alpha, because you can have the range finding array to help you get things scanned down, and I've got the cargo scanner in order to check the boxes before I hack them. And as you see in my videos, there are various reasons why I might want to know what's in a box and why I might or might not hack it. We've only got 2 low slots. I usually go for the inertia stabilizer and a warp core stabilizer. You could also try a nanofiber internal structure, or any combination really of those 3 down here. This is really about getting off grid as quickly as possible if anyone comes to mess with you. This is what I fit. I know some people like to have 2 warp core stabilizers. Some people just prefer a nanofiber internal structure and an inertia stabilizer to get them off grid quickly, so they're not there long enough to be locked. I'll leave that up to you. All of the Tech 1 frigates, I didn't mention before, I apologise, have 3 rig slots and the same calibration capacity of 400, which in effect means that out of the 3 rigs relevant to hacking and scanning, you can choose 2 of them. I'll leave that down to you. Next up, we've got again a very low skill friendly stroke alpha friendly probe fitting. Basically, I've lost the cargo scanner off of this fit to have both analyzers, or you may prefer, as I usually do, to just have a relic analyzer fitted and the cargo scanner in the other mid slot. We do now have an extra low slot, so we can have that extra warp core stabilizer and something to boost our agility, or again, any combination that you like. Whatever makes you feel most comfortable, whichever you think is going to get you home safely the best. The Imicus is exactly the same layout of slots. There are no reasons why you would fit the ship any differently really. And of course you could have a mobile depot on board to enable you to switch some modules around during your expedition to fit the situation that you actually find yourself in. For the Magnate, we're actually going to look at the one that I use now. We've only got the 3 mid slots, so if you were going to be hacking, you would simply go for, again, low skill. I still like to have the range finding array fitted, but you could of course just have a prop mod and a pair of analyzers. You could have no prop mod, but I would really suggest that you do keep one so you can get around the site nice and quickly to get the boxes hacked. But with the 4 low slots, you've got a choice between, in hacking and exploration mode here, you could have 4 warp core stabilizers if you wanted to. Remember, every one that you fit will half your targeting speed, so you won't be able to lock things up, including the boxes, till you're very close. In some circumstances that really isn't an issue. In other circumstances it can be a little bit of a pain, particularly if you are using a scanner. And now I'm going to show you the fit of the ship that I'm actually in. We call him Superfly. This is set up purely to be a high-speed cargo carrier, and as you can see, its capacity at the moment is 1215.6 cubic meters, which is pretty good for a frigate, I think you'll agree. Also bear in mind, if you only wanted to use a Magnate as a cargo runner, you only need to learn level 1 Amar frigate, because there's no bonuses that are relevant. So that's going to take you about, what, 45,000 ISK in about 30 minutes to be able to have a little space truck. In the rigs, I've got 1 small cargo hold optimization. You could put all 3 of those in there. You'll get up to about a 1600 cubic meter capacity with those 3 rigs combined with 4 Tech 2 expanded cargo holds. I've got just chucked a little bit of tank on there and a prop mod a couple of salvagers in case I come across something interesting, but these slots are kind of irrelevant. The whole idea here is just to move very quickly, but a little tank can't really hurt. Sometimes one is more appropriate than the other. That of course is down to you. So that's one suggested use for the Magnate. The Heron brings the loot out of the low sec pocket, the Magnate's floating around to take it down to market. I can cram this full of ammo or whatever I need to bring back with me, and the job's a good un. Now there will be another reason you may want to learn the frigate skills for other races, and hidden behind these guys is what is technically a Tech 1 frigate. It's a faction frigate. It's the Astero. Now I'm going to mention it just to save you guys mentioning it in lots of comments, because it's not a Tech 2 ship, it's a faction ship, it's a Tech 1 ship. Anyway, it has a very nice bonus both for core scanner probe strength, which is 37.5%, which is more than you'd get in a Tech 1 frigate even with a level 5 skill, and is more than an alpha could possibly get out of a Tech 1 frigate. And you get a 10 plus bonus to your relic and data analyzer, which is what you get on a Tech 2 exploration frigate, double what you're getting on the Tech 1. However, the fact that this costs 80 times as much as one of the Tech 1 exploration frigates is the reason, or a clue I should say, as to why I'm going to look at the Astero in an episode all of its own. It's a very nice ship, it's a very fun ship, and it's quite a versatile ship. But that's a story for another day. So I'm going to get my Magnate loaded up, get it down to Doe Dixie, bring back some supplies. I shall catch you guys soon. So I hope you found this little quick guide format useful and interesting. Please leave me any comments, any feedback. It is very useful, and leave it a like if you have liked it. If there's any frigates or types of frigates you want me to have a look at, feel free to make suggestions. On the list for these guides are the Tech 2 mining frigates, the Prospect and Endurance, the Gnosis, and I may also do a quick guide to the Tech 1 kind of, I call them the support frigates, the Logi frigates and the Iwa frigates. Let me know what you think of that idea. So subscribe if you haven't already. Click the notification bell if you want to know when the next video's up. But for now, take care of yourselves. Remember, even is believing, fly safe, fly brave, and goodbye.